What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Intensive Treatment, where we talk about all things Arkham. And today we're bringing you our top moments from each Arkham game. And we're kind of just talking about defining moments that we really love. Especially what sparked this initial thought was I'm replaying through all the Arkham games, live streaming them on my channel. And it kind of just sparked back some really great memories that I get every time I play the games. And I thought it would be great to kind of get Marvel's thoughts on this too, of some moments in each Arkham game that we really love and bring some kind of emotion out of us and that we really think define the one specific game. And I wanted to go through actually all four of the games rather, because Origins definitely has some as well. People kind of forget about it sometimes, but it's got some really good character moments. So let's start off with Origins. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. One of my favorite moments in the whole game is right at the tail end of when you leave the GCPD, when you go in to hack the servers and you're trying to figure out who killed Black Mask or if Black Mask was murdered at all. So
Yeah.
So you're going to the GCPD, and at the very end, you go up the elevator, and when the doors open, Jim Gordon's there, and they have kind of like their first real interaction, because they did see each other before, when after Killer Croc is interrogated and. And then he leaves Blackgate, but there wasn't really a conversation. It was just kind of like freeze and whatever, and taking you in, not tonight, fucking leave.
Yeah.
So they're talking, and it's like Batman's like, I'm on your side. You don't need to, fight me on this. And Jim brings up a really good point where it's like, he's on the side of the law, but he's not, breaking people's bones and, just utterly decimating criminals to, keep the peace in Gotham. So they have a really fun kind of back and forth. And it's one of those kind of moments that, like, when I think back to, how, Asylum and City go with their relationship just kind of being president and not really having much of a relationship in the main trilogy. I mean, besides Night, but just seeing that interaction, seeing that kind of relationship develop over the course of the game is immensely satisfying. And I do prefer it when Gordon is not really like a fan of Batman at first, and then slowly kind of warms up to him.
Yeah.
And then they become basically a powerhouse in Gotham. But yeah, that moment is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. I would say for me, the one that stands out maybe the most out of all of them is probably the Alfred fight with Batman. It's kind of the stereotypical thought process of where Batman's at the time, of thinking that he can be more than what he actually is. And he doesn't listen to anything Alfred says. And like usual, Alfred is right. And, he's proved many times in the Arkham series that he's correct over Batman. And another moment I will bring up when we get to Arkham City. But I love that scene because it really shows Alfred how much he cares about Bruce and his well-being, and how he what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just not going to try and search for the word because you know what? It's going to take too long. So, but it just shows how much Alfred cares about him as a son, and wants the best for him and doesn't want to see him get killed. So I love that moment, and how dismissive Bruce is. It makes you feel bad for Alfred. And like, that's the one part of the game where you're just like, Batman's a dick, like because he's so enveloped in this persona, or his true self, that he forgets about the people closest to him and
Mhm.
what his being Batman means to them. So yeah, I love that part. Do you have another one from Origins that comes to mind?
I mean, there is a few, like there are a number of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Another one of my favorites is like the is when you interrogate Penguin and then you're ambushed by Deathstroke and
Mm-hmm.
just seeing them, come face to face, and the kind of build up that was happening, not really in the game, but more just leading up to the game, like
Yeah.
because Deathstroke was a main player in marketing, like they
Oh.
marketed the shit out of him,
Mm-hmm.
and when you see them together, like it is very much like that kind of um Western duel kind of thing. They're
Mm.
looking at each other eye to eye. Well, not one eye to two eyes, by the way. But yeah, and then it culminates in this amazing fight, which is one of my favorites in the series, and we've gone over like a number of times, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
just that small moment between them is a very good one.
Oh yeah.
I always love
Um.
watching the cutscene over, like
Oh,
every time I play the game.
it's such a good cutscene. Um. I would say one more moment that I really think is on the top of my list for me is the ending of the game when Gordon is talking about why he didn't bring Batman in, and he couldn't come to his senses of doing it,
Mhm.
mainly because of Barbara,
Yeah.
and her belief, kind of pushed Jim into this corner of like, well, maybe she's right, or maybe there's a small chance that she's right, and he wants to see if it's possible that Batman is what Barbara thinks he is, which is a symbol of hope and change, rather, for the city. So I love that scene. I think that's one of my favorites, if not my favorite character moment of the game.
You mentioned Barbara, which actually reminds me of another scene that I love a lot, where it's also in the GCPD, and you meet her in the server room, and when you leave, sorry, when you leave, she's like, "Why do you do what you do?" And Batman just subtly is just like, "Because I made a promise." Like just that small little like interaction. That's what I think this game does really well, is that it takes characters from the trilogy and makes it in a certain way where like you see their origin and how it just kind of blooms over time. And I mean, there's not really much with Barbara and Batman specifically in that game, but like just seeing that small little moment between them is satisfying for longtime fans. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was debating on bringing that one up as well, but I couldn't come to my senses. Um, so I guess what we'll do now is I guess we'll just do like two moments and we'll flesh it out on why we think that.
mhm.
Um, so moving on to Arkham Asylum, um, one of my favorite moments in the game is hmm, there's a few that I'm kind of like dealing with in my head of what to talk about because I just played the game 2 days ago, 3 days ago, finished it. Um, damn you, brain.
Should I go first and then
Yeah,
you
sure. If you have one on your mind, yeah, go for it.
so one that sticks out to me every time I play the game is the first time you catch up with Joker after he set everybody free, thugs are roaming around, taking out security guards, and then you find Joker in this room, and that's when you first encounter Titan and everything. But the moment right after that fight is what gets me every time, where Joker's taunting Batman, basically being like, knock me off, you know, end our charade and,
Mm-hmm.
stop me so I can't cause any more chaos. And Batman, he has the batarang in his hand. He's ready to throw it. And then he just puts it down. And,
What a
Joker
damn
wins.
scene.
Yeah. So you can definitely, what stands out to me about that moment is just showing Batman's restraint and, knowing that he'll never go that far. He won't ever cross that line. He won't kill,
Right.
It's stuff like that, which, I wish, more Batman media can take from, especially the movies. I mean, Robert Pattinson, of course, did a fantastic job with that. But I mean, at the time, we were still in the kind of Nolan era of Batman. And even that, I know people won't agree on this, but I mean, he murdered Ra's al Ghul on the train.
Right, he did. He did, absolutely.
That is straight up murder.
It is. It's like if in actuality, if someone he would be what they said in the Batman about not an accomplice to murder, but accessory to murder or something like that along those lines. He was the reason that he died.
He killed him through inaction.
Right, exactly. Terrible. It was so bad. Every time I watch that, I'm like, there is no redeeming factor of that one spot. I just can't. And it ruins the character, the arc of him for the rest of the movies, unfortunately, at least for me, because of how much of a Batman fan I am to his true morals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. A scene. Sorry, we got off track there for a second, but it was worth noting because the Arkham games perfectly show that he does not kill. A moment for me that really sticks out is probably the first moment you talk to Barbara about. Well, I was going to kind of wrap two moments in one, but I'm not going to do that. The first moment you talk to Barbara about Commissioner Gordon being gone, I love the way that Batman deals with Barbara panicking, basically. He tries to keep her calm, and he reassures her constantly, Barbara, I'm getting him back. Joker will not win, and he won't let him win. To me, that really shows Batman's characteristic of determination. Of no matter what circumstances are in his way, he's going to believe in his heart that he can take the Joker down as much as possible, so that he will win and he will come out victorious. But that character moment's great for me because it's like we were talking about origins. It's a small moment, but if you look at the bigger picture, it really helps Batman's character. So that's a standout moment for me.
Yeah, I think especially in the Arkham games, the smaller moments are some of the more powerful moments. You mentioned determination, which brings me to my second moment, which is right after the final boss when you beat Joker and and he's taunting you with Titan and everything. Joker's like ready for round two, and Batman's just like always.
Yeah.
And just that moment of Batman being like, "You're never gonna win, and I won't let you." Like,
right.
It's just a very powerful thing, and I mean, it rings true because, he did kind of win in City, but at the same time, he lost too. So, give or take, but
yeah. 100%.
It's a amazing moment.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think another standout moment for me is again towards the end of the game, right before the final boss, which is when it shows Batman's humanity. Joker shoots the Titan formula at Commissioner Gordon, and Batman jumps into the way. Knowing full well what that could do to him. It could potentially leak out his identity to the world. Obviously, the mask would rip off. Logically, it would. Who the hell knows with that game? Joker had a damn mohawk. but he could have potentially risked his identity. He could have potentially risked his livelihood and his mental state and his body.
Yeah.
He put it all on the line for basically his closest friend, who believes in everything that he believes in. And he put his life on the line for him, and I think it just shows the humility of Batman. Because I think some people tend to see Batman as a very maybe a self-centered figure, because of how he deals with things, but that shows the true nature of who his character is.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my second pick for top moments for sure. But Arkham Asylum, as you all know, is Marvel and I's favorite Arkham game. So there's a whole bunch of top moments from that game, for sure. But those are definitely at the top of our list. Arkham City. God, I know I was thinking about this a lot, and I'll bring it up first because I kind of hinted at it in the Origins one. Is when Batman wakes up in the rubble from Catwoman saving him, and he's talking to Barbara and Alfred about going after Talia. And Alfred just says, "I can't do this. I'm not going to let you do it." Is it really that significant that you save one life over 1,000? Not that it's not significant, but would you rather risk the whole city than save one person? And Alfred just doesn't give in no matter what Bruce says. And he pushes Bruce to the point of saying, "Fine, I will do it the right way." And I love that moment of just Alfred being the father figure, proving to Bruce that it is right, and he's not letting his emotions get in the way of what's actually at stake here. I love that moment. I think that's a shining moment for Alfred in the whole series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorites too. Like, it's just that whole dialogue exchange between them. Like, I mean, for my first moment, I mean, it's basically the elephant in the room, but I'm going to talk about Joker's death because that moment, every time I watch it, it just gives me chills, and also just, Batman at first kind of like, considering his options, maybe like whether he does cure the Joker or maybe he doesn't cure the Joker. Him talking about, all the people that he's murdered, and the fact that, he's just going to do it again over and over and over again. And then after the vial breaks and Joker's frantically trying to ingest the cure in some way, just that line of Batman where he's like, "Even after everything, I would have saved you." Like, just that, like, I'm getting chills right now.
Me too. You didn't even need to say the whole line, and it gave me chills too. It's
and then just Joker, his response, like, it's like his only response to it is just laughing.
Yeah,
and literally
that actually is pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's like it's the most incredible act of selflessness I think Batman could have done. Because we know Batman would have saved him. It's just not in his character, especially in the Arkham games, for him not to save Joker.
Yeah.
And I think why Batman took it so harshly, as well as because he didn't have any control over saving Joker in those last moments. Joker destroyed the cure on himself over something he did. And I think personally that got to Batman more. Not the fact that Joker died, but the fact that Batman could have saved him and he was right in front of him dying. That scene is incredible. I'm so glad you brought it up. I figured you would.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to not talk about it because it is literally the most memorable part of not only that game, but the entire series too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It laid such a precedent for like Batman media because like, I mean, besides like the animated series or the Timverse, whatever you want to call it, the DCAU, like we didn't never really saw Joker kind of just die off legitimately.
Yeah.
And in such a way that is like, I mean, the Return of the Joker death, like that was a painful one for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of unironically funny, but like the Arkham City death, there's nothing funny about it. It's more like
It's actually sad.
anything. It's sad too. It's just watching him, you know, laughing, his like with his last breath, just laughing, and when you see the life leave his eyes and his face is just in a smile and Batman looking down on him, not sure what to do next. Like it is like it is an incredible moment. And
I love how he carries him out of the Monarch Theater, almost like a tragic loss of someone he loves. Like it's very interesting the relationship they have. It's strange. It almost doesn't make any logical sense, but yet somehow it does. And that part always gets me too. Sometimes even more is when he's carrying him and Gordon is just saying, "Batman, what happened?" He says nothing. Just puts Joker down and walks away.
Yeah, he just walks. Yeah,
it's like great. He's in total shock.
So yeah, to me, not only is that a great moment on its own, but it's especially more perfect considering the fact that they're alluding to it throughout the entire game. Like at the very start of Catwoman's DLC, the painting you see, and when you wait in the clock tower after the countdown, and Joker's just like, "What are you waiting for?" It's like, we both know how this is going to end, and he basically just tells you the ending. And like, yeah. And,
I don't think anyone actually expected them to kill him off, though. I when I first played the game, I was like, "There's no way." And I know that when Arkham Knight was coming out too, it was like everyone was like, "Oh, well, Joker's not really dead," and well, lo and behold, they were right, sort of. But the real Joker was, in fact, dead.
He's dead. Yeah.
I was just, it's crazy. And it's great to me that they could really make you feel that way after just 2 games of seeing Joker. Like, and he's not even in the whole of the whole games. I mean, you don't see Joker often in Asylum. His presence is there, and you don't really see him that much in Arkham City at all. But the moments you do see him in these games, they're pivotal moments, and man, they're so damn good. I guess I'll get on to my second and final thing about Arkham City, which has to be obviously the Catwoman story pack. Best moments of the game.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, we hate that shit. No, actually, one of my favorite moments from that game is probably his conversation with Ra's al Ghul at the end of the game, when he's talking about all the people he's killed, and he's holding Hugo Strange in his arms. And again, a moment of humility for Batman and selflessness. He says, he needs to see a doctor now or he's going to die. And he's like, Batman's not thinking about himself at all. And I love the moment as well when Hugo, at that point, he knows he's going to die and he doesn't care anymore. So he self-destructs the damn tower to kill Ra's and Batman. And the moment after that ensues, obviously, is that epic skydive scene. Which, does he kill Ra's there? Like, I don't get it. Like,
no.
Like, what happened there?
Well, Ra's stabbed himself, and Batman just subtly moved out of the way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because he pushes Raish's body away from him
Oh yeah,
as the blade's coming through.
yeah.
So I guess
You're right.
he had some fucking spider sense and knew that.
It's just like I'm gonna die here. I gotta push him away.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a great scene. I absolutely love it. It's so good.
My second moment is right when you enter the Wonder Tower. So it's like just shortly before that. You walk in the room and Hugo appears on the screen and he's just like, and he's talking to Batman and the guards are surrounding him and he's basically being like, if you weren't here, none of this would have happened.
Right.
The Joker being what he is, all these super criminals, like the way they are and how they came to be. If Batman didn't exist, they wouldn't exist. And basically ridiculing Batman, not only for the monsters that were created, but all the lives that were taken too. Like, yeah, I love Hugo just kind of like taunting Batman about shit like that, where it's like, because he knows that all this really is on him, or it seems that way, and yeah, that's probably like one of the very few moments where like Hugo actually like shines through. I mean, it's either that or the very beginning when he has Bruce in custody, and but I'm gonna go with the like near the very end. So
I think that moment makes it that much more satisfying when you go to the top of the tower and kick the shit out of him. You're just like, this son of a bitch deserves that. Like, you just kick him over the table. He just flails over the table like he's like a rag doll.
I know, you're literally like, you're staring him down and then all of a sudden just like, bam.
And then when he hits him against the glass and says, look at what you've done. Those are some, like you said, it's like those moments when Hugo taunts Batman, it makes the ending so much more satisfying. Not that he died, but that he definitely got, he saw as Carmine Falcone said, I want you to put the fear of God in this guy. So I think that's what Batman did to Hugo Strange. Just great moments. Moving on to the final and most controversial installment, Arkham Knight. Where do I begin here?
This is a hard one.
It is, because a lot of the moments are overshadowed by bad writing. Okay, well, actually, one of the moments that I really love in this game, well, there's two moments that I really love, but again, a lot of it is overshadowed by writing that either came before it or after it. So for this game, I'm going to have to just stick to the scene and act like nothing else exists in the game. That's how bad it is. But the one scene that pops in my head first is when Batman is under the influence of the fear toxin, and in his nightmare, he actually gives in to murder.
Oh yeah.
And he drops to his knees in disappointment, sadness, and like kind of the thought of like, what have I done? And I absolutely love that scene. It shows how seriously Batman takes that moral code. And in a way, he didn't break it in reality, but he broke it within himself. And that's a scene that sticks out to me.
Yeah, because even in the, I guess, the astral plane, or even in his mind, like just any instance of him killing anybody just would absolutely destroy him. That is a good one. That's a good one. My first moment, and damn, this is a hard one. I'm gonna go with Poison Ivy's death.
Good moment.
It's right after you take out the Knight, or you think you take out the Knight, you take out the Cloudburst, and you go back to Ivy, and she uses the last of her power to kind of extinguish what is left of the fear toxin, all over the city. And just seeing her like slowly fade away into the sky, and seeing life essentially come back to what it was. Yeah, it's a pretty for all accounts, it's a good moment on its own. It is kind of ruined though, because like just what led up to that. But
I know.
Yeah. So what about you? Moment number 2.
I think for my second scene, it's look, I know there's a lot of bad blood between the whole Jason Todd thing. And there is for me too, because it was just handled poorly. But for me, that doesn't make the moment when he's trying to get through to Jason any less emotional. At the very end of their final quote unquote boss battle, if that's what you want to call it, that shit.
Yeah.
You take him onto the ground, and he's pointing a gun to Batman, and he says, "You did this to me," with basically tears in his eyes. And Batman finally just lets his guard down and says, "I'm sorry." And that part always gets me. And it's like Jason, I think, in his head at that point is kind of trying to rationalize what to do next. Does he leave? Does he shoot Batman? Does he talk to him? And then Batman puts his hand out and says, "We can fix this together." And Jason finally puts the gun down after all of what happened. That's really all they needed, was to meet face to face and talk.
Yeah.
So that moment is definitely emotional.
Yeah. Yeah, that moment to me, it's like there is definitely emotion there, or in some amount of emotion, but like to me it's ruined by the fact that he should have no reason to, accept Batman's apology or anything. Yeah. Like, it's just, there's nothing really like on Batman's side at that point that makes it work in his favor.
Yeah.
And the fact that he shows up like at the end to save Batman is just like makes it even worse too. Like,
no.
So for my second moment, I'm gonna go with it's right after, it's at the end of the game. Your Joker's in Batman's head, just like he's basically living out his worst fear, and then it's the moment when Batman kind of locks Joker up in his subconscious, which somehow cures him of him. Which I wonder.
Yeah, that shit, Sefton Hill.
Yeah, just seeing him like in the cell begging for Batman to let him go, and then just hearing the words is like, "I need you."
Like, that's a great part.
Yeah.
I just, again, like you said, it's like I wish it wasn't overshadowed by the fact that it somehow cures his physical ailment of the Joker disease, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, nothing about that makes sense whatsoever. And
if the Joker disease thing didn't happen in that game, and they just used the psychological part periodically, not as much as they used it actually, I think it would have been perfectly fine. And that scene, you still could have had it of him locking Joker away, of kind of like, "I'm forgetting you and I'm moving on," kind of thing.
Literally, you are nothing. And yeah. But yeah, I mean, when you really think about that ending, like there's a lot of like components about it that just don't line up, or it just doesn't work at all. Like literally every single scene in that ending just
the whole game.
But yeah, those are the only two moments that I can conjure up, and even those are kind of like
iffy,
a little iffy. Yeah.
Well, guys, there you have it. That's our list for our two per game favorite like classic moments, kind of pivotal moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad we finally got to do this. I was thinking, I kind of came up with the idea off the cuff from playing the Arkham games again. It's like, it might be cool. But guys, if you haven't already, go subscribe to the Speaking Nerd podcast channel and Marvel's channel, because there's some new episodes up on there. And also, we're getting ready to do our Batman review, which is a month late, but we're going to do it. We finally are able to get all four of us in the same place, same time. Or as AJ likes to say, same bat time, same bat channel. So I'm really excited. I think Marvel's probably even more excited than I am to finally get to do it. So that's what's in the books this week. So go subscribe to that channel. Again, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let us know what your favorite Arkham moments are from each game. Leave that in the comment section below, and be sure to like and comment, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter. We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.